Always Wondered is the podcast where we serve up curiosity. And today there is something special on the menu, because this is episode number 26. That means we've been doing this every week for exactly half a year. Yep, 6 months. That officially puts us at the 50-yard line of our podcast year. The marching band is on the field. The cheerleaders are doing a YMCA-style dance, only they're spelling out Always Wondered. I'm trying to follow along, but I look like I'm swatting mosquitoes or something. Anyway, so here's to the first half of the year, 26 episodes of quirky origins, unusual customs, strange phrases, and the occasional sound effect that makes my neighbor question what exactly I do for a living. Yeah, sorry about that. But the best part, we're not anywhere near being done. There's plenty of weird, wonderful curiosity left on this giant sandwich that we call Always Wondered. And I promise, from here on out, the toppings only get stranger. So welcome to the podcast that answers some of the questions you've always wondered about.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for joining us. So, did you ever meet someone and say,
"Geez, their hand feels like a warm loaf of bread"?
Or worse,
"Why is it so damp?"
Which brings us to our question. Have you always wondered why we shake hands? Well, it turns out the handshake is an ancient symbol of peace, friendship, and spreading colds since about 5 BC. It wasn't originally about saying,
"Hi, long time no see."
No, the Greeks did it to show that they weren't about to stab each other, which honestly is a much better icebreaker than, well, actually stabbing each other. Then the Romans took it up a notch. They went for the forearm grasp. Less of a handshake and more of a,
"I'm checking your sleeve for knives."
So basically it was
The first TSA pat-down?
Exactly. Now fast forward to the 18th century, and the Quakers in England felt that all those royal bows, curtsies, and tipping of the hat were just way too fancy. So they said,
"No need for flourishes. A simple handshake will do, preferably without jam on your fingers."
and that pretty much normalized the handshake for all. But a plain old handshake just wasn't enough for some. So the 1920s jazz culture gave us the low five.
Down low. Nope, too slow.
It gets me every time. And the high five was reportedly created in 1977. Dusty Baker of the LA Dodgers hit his 30th home run of the season and was met at home plate by teammate Glenn Burke, who threw his hand up in the air. Instinctively, Baker slapped it, the cameras caught it, and history was made. And the fist bump may have a sports origin too, when boxers would tap gloves before a bout. And today we have the dap, which is an elaborate fist bump with an extra TikTok-style dance choreography thrown in, the secret handshake, which requires about 2 months of practice, and the double tap bro hug combo, which is half greeting, half chiropractic adjustment. But whatever it is, the next time someone offers a handshake, just remember, it all started as a way to say,
I come in peace.
Of course, if you do happen to hear this, you might want to run in the other direction.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Ever have one of those days your car won't start? You spill coffee in your lap, you drop your phone in the toilet, and you tell yourself,
"Bad things always happen in threes."
So that brings us to our question. Have you always wondered, do bad things really happen in threes? Well, the truth is, our brains love patterns like cats love cardboard boxes. When something bad happens,
Oh well.
if it happens again,
Coincidence.
but when it happens a third time.
The trilogy of doom.
First off, what's the deal with 3? Why not 2 or 4 or 17? Well, it turns out 3 has been hogging the spotlight for thousands of years.
What is it? 3! Yeah, that's a magic number.
It shows up in religion, mythology, art, you name it. There's the Holy Trinity. Ancient Egyptians had their own triple threat of gods. Same thing in Norse mythology. Basically, if you were a god and didn't have a couple of buddies to hang with, you weren't getting invited to all the cool myths. Put simply, humans love threes. Mind, body, spirit, faith, hope, and charity, Larry, Moe, and Curly. Storytelling, beginning, middle, and end. Fairy tales? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Wishes? You get 3. And jokes? The best land in 3. You always hear,
a priest, a rabbi, and a duck walk into a bar.
never just,
A priest and a rabbi walk.
yeah, it just doesn't cut it. But where did the superstition involving 3s start? Some say it dates back to the Crimean War in the 1800s. Soldiers believed that lighting 3 cigarettes on one match brought bad luck, completely ignoring the fact that lighting 3 cigarettes in succession gave the enemy time to spot, aim, and fire. But it seems the superstition stuck.
Psychologists call it the rule of 3.
That's right, it gives some order to all the chaos. We tell ourselves it's not random, it's a trilogy, a box set of bad luck, even if it's not true. So the next time you're waiting for that 3rd unlucky thing to happen, don't panic. Maybe just order a pizza. I mean, the worst that can happen is the delivery guy forgets the breadsticks. And that's it. You're done. Superstition satisfied.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
All right, you've heard this one a lot. Your supervisor at work says something like,
The big presentation is tomorrow. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row.
now we know what it means. Be prepared, get organized, basically be ready for anything. But have you always wondered the origin of the phrase, get your ducks in a row? I mean, who appointed ducks as the official mascot of organization? Well, let's ruffle a few feathers and see if we can't find the answer. Now, the phrase could come from the sight of a mama duck leading her cute little ducklings in a perfect little line.
Come on, Donald, you're falling behind. Tighten up the line.
But some language detectives say it didn't originate on the pond. Instead, it actually came from, wait for it, a bowling alley. In the late 1800s in New England, a new type of bowling was introduced called duck pin bowling. Smaller ball, no finger holes, and the pins were shorter, stubbier, and kind of waddled like, well, ducks. It all made the game more difficult, so the players would wait for the pin setters to put their ducks in a row, and they try their best to knock them down. And one more theory has to do with carnival games. Rows of mechanical ducks would slide along a track, and sharpshooters would try to pick them off.
Knock down 3 ducks in a row and win a goldfish. Guaranteed to possibly survive the car trip home.
So despite its origin, be it quacking, bowling, or shooting, the phrase has been around for a long time, well over 100 years. In the end, get your ducks in a row is history's way of making sure your plans are in order, keep it tidy, and maybe, just maybe, you might win that goldfish.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that brings our episode number 26 to a close. And being smack in the middle of our first year, if this podcast were a glass of water, we'd either be half full or half empty, depending on how many strange facts we spilled along the way. But as we told you at the outset, there's much more weirdness yet to come. And to prove the point, as always, we leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered, what does your boss tell you
Everyone's replaceable.
until you ask him for time off, and then you're told,
No, there's no one to replace you.
yeah, we all know that one. So until next time, stay curious and keep wondering. I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
The Always Wondered podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.